If your childhood included the original PlayStation, chances are your memories are packed with goofy orange bandicoots and sassy purple dragons. But hidden deep behind these icons was a wildly charming jungle boy with pink hair and green shorts who was on a quirky quest for his grandfather's golden bracelet. I'm talking, of course, about Tomba, the cult classic PS1 gem you just might be familiar with. So grab your evil pig bag, because today we're diving headfirst into the colorful, pig-infested world of one of PlayStation's most charmingly offbeat adventures. This game was developed by the creative minds at Whoopee Camp and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. Tomba hit North America in June 1998, however, most players didn't own the full game back in the day. Instead, many experienced their first and possibly only taste through the legendary PlayStation Interactive Sampler Volume 7. This iconic demo disc introduced gamers not only to our favorite pink-haired hero, but also classics like Spyro the Dragon, Medieval, and even Metal Gear Solid. Among these titles, Tomba stood out as a memorable demo that lingered in your mind long after your console was powered down. My brother picked up Tomba when we were kids, and it quickly became a favorite for both of us. I remember being completely blown away by the detailed, interconnected world, amazed by how cleverly later sections loop back around to connect with earlier parts of the game. At its core, Tomba follows the whimsical journey of our energetic hero Tomba as he chases down a group of mischievous evil pigs who have stolen his grandfather's prized golden bracelet and have unleashed chaos across the land. It's a delightfully absurd premise, perfectly fitting for the game's playful and carefree vibe. Throughout his adventure, Tomba encounters a colorful cast of memorable characters, from quirky dwarf villagers and hungry monkeys, to helpful, though slightly eccentric guides like the elderly 100-year-old wise man. Each interaction brings personality and charm to Tomba's vibrant world. And let's not forget the 7 evil pig bosses, each hilariously themed after different curses they've cast on the land, like turning the forests upside down or freezing entire villages. Capturing these villainous pigs requires finding magical evil pig bags, adding a satisfying layer of exploration and puzzle solving to this adventure. What truly makes Tomba stand out, however, is how alive and interconnected the characters and world feel. Everyone you meet adds depth, humor, and warmth to your journey, making this quirky quest feel genuinely memorable and richly rewarding. Tomba plays like a dream. This vibrant side-scroller combines tight platforming with clever exploration, and it just feels good to control. Tomba starts with a trusty jump and a wild flying grab attack, and a flail to smack enemies around with satisfying impact, especially those pesky pigs. You'll quickly expand your toolkit thanks in part to Charles, a grumpy monkey who teaches you the speedy animal dash early on in the game. And the game's structure revolves around a sprawling series of bite-sized quests, and here's the twist: nearly every item you find actually matters. Whether it's bananas, baby chicks, shrunken pigs, or those oddly adorable leaf-shaped butterflies. Everything ties back into the world in a surprisingly meaningful way. It's like a bright and friendly Metroidvania with a charming layer of cartoon paint. You'll be constantly putting your movement skills to the test as you leap through bright, sometimes surreal landscapes, each warped by bizarre curses of the evil pigs. As the world opens up, you'll find gear that enhances your abilities, such as different colored pants that boost your speed, ancient bells that'll teleport you across the map, and a growing inventory of oddball items that push you to backtrack, experiment, and uncover secrets you may have missed. One of the most surprising and addicting things about Tomba is the quest system. At first glance, you might think you're just hopping around beating up some pigs and trying to get to the end of the game. But the game slowly reveals something deeper. A full-blown adventure loaded with over 130 mini-quests, all tracked in a tidy little feature called the Adventure Journal. This wasn't common in platformers at the time. Most games gave you a stage and a finish line. But Tomba built on the foundation laid by games like Metroid and Wonder Boy. There were mysteries and a wide cast of characters to help solve them, if you solved their problems first. You'd stumble across strange scenarios like dwarves speaking gibberish that you'd have to learn to understand, or a spooky haunted mansion that demanded some very specific problem solving. Every item you found, be it a mushroom, a piece of cheese, or even a miniature tornado you could fit in your pocket, they were all needed to solve a quest at some point. What made this system so genius was how it reframed exploration. You weren't just moving forward. You were doubling back, trying new things, and revisiting earlier zones with new tools in your pocket. The adventure journal tracked every objective and reward, giving you a satisfying sense of progress without holding your hand. It made the world feel alive and reactive, like your actions actually mattered. And for a platformer in 1998, that was way ahead of its time. It's this blend of exploration and RPG-style quests that give Tomba its staying power. You're not just chasing the big bad pigs, you're building relationships, fixing problems, and unraveling a world that's been twisted by cartoonish evil. And it all ties back to that journal, quietly keeping tabs on your wild bacon-flinging journey. Now let's talk about graphics for a minute. While most PlayStation games from the late 90s were sprinting into the third dimension, Tomba was confidently doing cartwheels in the 2.5D lane, and looking great while doing it. While its gameplay stuck to a 2D plane, the environments were rendered with 3D depth, allowing for clever level design, layered backgrounds, and dramatic camera shifts that gave the world a sense of scale and movement without sacrificing clarity. The result? A game that felt alive, animated, and easy to read. It managed to age better than most games of the era by not having to fumble with a 3D camera. Visually, Tomba was bursting with personality. Its art style leaned into a sort of anime meets fairy tale weirdness with vibrant colors, interesting character designs, and imaginative locations. You weren't just running through jungles, you were navigating a maze of laughing flowers, leaf-littered forests, villages of mice, and a whole bunch of other charming locations. Each area felt handcrafted, almost like a child's storybook brought to life. NPCs had expressive animations, enemies had goofy, exaggerated reactions, and Tomba himself, he bounced, flipped, and tackled his way through the world like a hyperactive cartoon wild child, which to be fair, he basically is. And despite the playful visuals, there was an underlying consistency that kept the world cohesive. Whether you were climbing Phoenix Mountain or hunting down evil pigs in the cursed zones, it all felt like part of the same delightfully weird universe. A world that never really took itself too seriously, but still made you care. In an era where many games were struggling to define their look in this brave new 3D world, Tomba knew exactly what it wanted to be, bright, bold, and brimming with charm. You can't talk about Tomba without mentioning its bizarre rogues gallery, the 7 evil pigs. These aren't your standard end-of-level baddies. They're magical pork overlords who've each cast a nasty curse on a different part of the world. And defeating them, that's where things get weird and in the best way. Each of the evil pigs is tied to a specific region. There's the evil fire pig, the haunted evil pig, the earth evil pig, and so on. The curses are as ridiculous as they are creative, like turning entire towns of people into mice, casting large storms over areas, or flooding areas with lava. And that means every boss fight feels earned. You're not just fighting to clear a level, you're restoring balance to a world gone cartoonishly wrong. But here's the twist, you don't just fight them, you gotta catch them. To take down an evil pig, you first need to find their matching evil pig bag, hidden somewhere in their cursed world. Only once you've tracked it down can you access their lair, a crazy little pocket dimension themed after their particular brand of magic. Once you enter the boss arena, you're tasked with catching the pig by jumping on them and trying to hurl them into the floating bag. You'll have to be careful to avoid whatever hazards that specific pig conjures up, and be even more careful with your timing as you line up your throw with the open bag. The evil pig fights might not be the hardest boss battles you've ever faced, but they're some of the most fun, and they perfectly match the game's tone. Strange, playful, and always rewarding. Now, Tomba's soundtrack amplifies its weird, whimsical energy. Composed by Harumi Fujita, known for her work on games like Gargoyle's Quest and Bionic Commando, the music in Tomba strikes a perfect balance between adventurous and absurd. Each area has its own distinctive theme, whether it's the bouncy upbeat tune of the starting area, the spooky vibes of the haunted mansion, or the tense off-kilter rhymes inside Evil Pig's lair. The music always matches the tone of the zone, helping pull you deeper into this colorful, cursed world. What makes it stand out is how unafraid it is to be goofy, catchy, and experimental, just like the game itself. You'll hear everything from quirky percussion loops to almost circus-like melodies that stick in your brain long after you've saved and shut it off. It's one of those soundtracks that sneaks up on you, and before you know it, you're humming the Phoenix Mountain theme while doing the dishes. It may not have the big orchestral drama of some of its PlayStation 1 peers, but Tomba's soundtrack has heart, charm, and personality to spare, and that's exactly what this game is all about. Tomba wasn't made by a big-name studio. It came from a small, passionate team called Whoopee Camp, founded by Tokuro Fujiwara. If that name sounds familiar, it should. Fujiwara had a hand in creating Ghosts and Goblins, Mega Man, and he even worked on Resident Evil at Capcom before striking out to make something weirder and more personal. Tomba was the result. Despite its charm, critical praise, and strong visual identity, Tomba didn't exactly fly off store shelves. In Japan, it sold under 100,000 copies. In the US, it performed slightly better thanks in part to its inclusion on the demo disc, but still struggled to stand out during a year packed with heavy hitters like Metal Gear, Spyro, and Resident Evil 2. Critically though, it was a hit. Reviewers praised its vibrant world, innovative quest structure, and offbeat tone. Outlets like Electronic Gaming Monthly and GamePro gave it favorable reviews, calling it a hidden gem with surprisingly deep gameplay. Unfortunately, its 2.5D style may have hurt its commercial appeal at a time when 3D was all the rage. Even so, Tomba didn't fade away completely. Over time, it's earned a cult following, especially among retro enthusiasts and collectors. It became one of those if you know you know titles, praised for its creativity, personality, and refusal to fit neatly into any one genre. It did well enough to receive a sequel, but we'll talk more about Tomba 2 in a future video on the channel. After more than 2 decades in cult classic limbo, Tomba has finally made its official comeback in 2024. Thanks to limited run games and their Carbon engine, the remaster brought the pink-haired Jungle Boy back to life on modern platforms including Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and PC, and fans couldn't be happier. This wasn't just a quick emulation job either. The remaster featured cleaned-up visuals, sharper audio, save states, and a few welcome quality of life improvements, making it more accessible without sacrificing the game's quirky personality. And yes, Tokuro Fujiwara himself returned to oversee the project, adding an extra layer of authenticity. Reception was overwhelmingly positive from both old-school fans and a wave of new players discovering Tomba for the first time. For a game that once struggled to find its footing, Tomba's return was a true feel-good moment for retro gaming fans, and proof that some treasures are just too good to stay buried forever. So, if you've never played Tomba, now's the perfect time. And if you're one of those of us who grew up wondering what happened to that pink-haired kid from the demo disc, welcome back. The pigs are still evil, the world is still cursed, and Tomba is one of the most delightfully offbeat heroes in PlayStation history. Well, that's all I have for today, so if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and please remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. I'll see y'all next time!